this is Glenda, and welcome to you from the AKA GK Fralin channel, Weimar, Nebraska. Okay, today we have a story from Robbin Russell. She's used the same elements of the 5 elephants, Jason, and Elm Street. This will show you how just a few items can take on a whole different story for a different person. And this one is so sweet. Jason and the Circus. Not a lot of exciting things happened growing up in rural southern Illinois in the 1970s, but I want to share a story from my childhood. I had gone to Fairfield with one of my cousins, and we found out that the circus was coming to town. I was so excited. I had never seen a real circus in my whole life. I knew that my little brothers and sisters would love to go too. I ran in the house yelling, "Mom," while I was waving a bright orange flyer. "Look, look." "What's this all about?" my mother asked. I was so out of breath I could hardly talk. It's a circus. It's coming to town in 2 weeks, I said, while jumping up and down. "Can we go? I know Jenny, Johnny, and little Jacob would love it." My mom said, "Settle down, Jason. I will have to talk to your father, and I don't know if we can afford it this summer. What if I could earn the money myself to get tickets for the whole family? Let me see how much I will need." Mom and I looked at the prices on the flyer. Adults, $10. Okay, that's $20 for you and Dad. Children ages 4 to 15 is $5. Okay, that's $15. I'm 11, and Jenny is 9, and Johnny's 5, and little Jacob is only 2, so he's free. All right, that means I need $35. I had been saving for a new red radio, but that's okay, and I have $2 in my bank under the bed. The next morning after breakfast and the chores were done, I told my mom that I was going for a bike ride. Jenny yelled, "Wait for me!" As soon as we got on our bikes, she told me that she wanted to help me make money for the circus. As we rode down the lane, we were trying to think of things we could do. Then suddenly Jenny yelled, "Blackberries!" "What are you talking about, Jen?" I asked. She explained to me, "Remember yesterday that Mom had us pick a gallon of blackberries so she could make some blackberry shortcake last night for dessert? Most of our neighbors don't have kids like Mom and Dad to do stuff for them." "Good thinking. Let's go." The first house we came to was Mr. Downey's. As we were riding up the driveway, Mr. Downey was coming out to check his mail. "Hello there, Jason and Jenny. What are you kids up to today?" "We stopped by to see if you would like a gallon of strawberries. We are trying to make some money," I said. "To go to the circus," Jenny added with a smile. Mr. Downey said, That sounds good. How about if I give you $3 apiece, and if you can get your mom to make a blackberry cobbler, I will add another $5. "Thank you, Mr. Downey, sir. We will go right back now and ask her." We jumped on our bikes and he yelled, "Have your mom call me," as we rode away. We were so excited to tell our mom what Mr. Downey said, we burst through the screen door talking at the same time. "Hey, I can't understand you both at once. Jason, you tell me first." So I told her what Mr. Downey said. And together we both cried, "Please, Mom, make Mr. Downey cobbler." Okay, I will give Mr. Downey a call. As soon as she picked up the phone receiver on the wall, we grabbed our ice cream buckets and slammed out the door and across the field till we found our blackberry patches. The next day, when we delivered the blackberry cobbler to Mr. Downey, he gave us the money and said, "Thank you. I'm really going to enjoy this." Then he told us that while he was in town, he had run into Mrs. McCormick. I told her you kids had been trying to raise some money. She said to send you down to her house. She has something you can do for her. "Thank you, Mr. Downey. We will go down there right now." A few minutes later, we rang the doorbell. Mrs. McCormick opened the door. "I'm so happy to see you kids. I heard from Mr. Downey that you were looking for some work to do. I know what I need done. Come around back, and I'll show you." "Have you ever washed a dog?" "Yes, ma'am," we replied in unison, and we followed her around the house to the backyard. "Well, you both have no Dixie, and Lordy, she's a mess, and I'm getting too old to bathe her myself. There's the tub, there's the water hose, and some soap. I'll bring you some old towels to dry her with in a bit." We had so much fun giving Dixie a bath. It didn't feel like work. "How does $5 sound? Is that enough?" she asked after we were done. "That'll be great, Mrs. McCormick. Thank you very much." When we got home, Mom was hanging clothes on the line. Mrs. McCormick called me and said you were washing Dixie, so not to worry that you weren't home yet. Mom laughed. "Looks like you got a bath right along with Dixie." That night I got out my bank, which was really an old cigar box, to put our money in. Everyone gathered around to see. "How much do you have?" Johnny asked, his eyes as big as $half as I counted. "Well, let's see. $2 that I had, $11 from Mr. Downey, and $5 from Mrs. McCormick. That's $18. "Wow, you're rich, Jason," Johnny exclaimed. Everyone laughed. "Not yet, but he just might be someday," my dad said. The next 2 weeks went by so fast. Every day or so, a neighbor or family member would call having some type of work that me and Jenny could do. Then it was the night before the big day. I got out my bank for the last count of our money. As I was counting, Johnny rushed up the stairs to the younger boy's bedroom and back. "Here, Jason, I work too. Me and Jacob, we help Mom." And he gave me 2 crumpled up $1 bills. We needed $35 for the tickets. And drum roll, please. We got $48.50. We are so proud of all you children. You worked hard to reach your goal, and we will all have fun the day of the circus," my mother said with a big smile. The next day, everyone got up bright and early. When we had our breakfast and chores done, we piled in the car and headed to town. The circus was having a parade down Elm Street that went through town and out to the fairgrounds. There were so many people lining both sides of the street, waiting for the parade to start. Jenny, Johnny, Jacob, and myself were so excited we could hardly stand still. The first thing we saw were the great big elephants, 5 of them, all with colored blankets on their backs. They were all in a line holding on to each other's tails. Next came the clowns, then the horses, and all the circus people. Everyone cheered and clapped until the last clowns picking up elephant and horse poop were out of sight. As we walked to the car to go to the fairgrounds, Dad prepped us for what we were going to be doing next. When we got to the fairgrounds, we ate our lunch that Mom had made for us and packed in the cooler. There were sandwiches and chips and even a can of orange soda for each of us. We never got to have soda except on special occasions. After our lunch, Dad asked, "How would you like to ride on one of those big elephants with the extra money you have earned?" We couldn't believe it. To actually get to ride on an elephant? We were so excited we jumped up and down. Yay! When we got to the elephant pen, Mom and Dad with little Jacob on one elephant. Me and Jenny and Johnny got to ride on another elephant named Tiny. When the ride was over, we were wide-eyed and speechless for a while. As we walked toward the big top, the sights and sounds of the circus were almost too much to take in. People at different booths were yelling and trying to sell us things, from cotton candy to seeing a 2-headed snake. Once we got our tickets to enter the big tent, Dad bought us a big bag of peanuts to share while we watched the show. We laughed at the clowns till we had tears in our eyes and our bellies hurt. We clapped and cheered for the acrobats and all the animal acts. You could feel the tension in the big tent when the high wire act was on. Jenny had to cover her eyes. We had never seen anything like that. When the show was over, we walked back to our car to go home. Everyone talked about what they liked the best. Jenny said she loved the little dogs in the funny clothes that did tricks. Johnny loved the clowns that made him laugh so hard. I thought the elephants were still the best. Mom said seeing her children so happy and excited almost made her cry, and little Jacob was asleep with a smile on his face before we even got to the parking lot. That night, after I got ready for bed, Dad came in my bedroom and told me how proud he was that I was his son. That I not only thought of myself, but my brothers and sisters, and worked so hard to make my dream of going to the circus come true. The next thing I knew, he was handing me the round red radio that I had been wanting. "I was going to give you this for your birthday, but I think you deserve it now," my dad told me. All I could do was give him a great big hug. For many years to come, that first time we went to the circus was a favorite memory for all of us. That is Robbin Russell's story, Jason and the Circus. And thank you for listening. That's got to be it for tonight, folks. Time is up. So love you, good night, and talk to you tomorrow.